सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रसंग्रहैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मात् विनिसृता. Namaskaram to all the devotees here. With the grace of Krishna, we are here to talk about the relevance of Bhagavad Gita to our daily life. This session would be for today and tomorrow. We would all be wondering, how can a Shastra which was delivered many thousands of years ago be relevant today? Once we go through these two lecture sessions, we would of course understand how they are relevant. Many customs and practices keep changing every day. The pattern of education changes. Our standard of living changed. Our customs changed. Many things underwent drastic changes. But yet there are many that have not undergone any change. And the most fundamental that has not undergone a change, or which should never undergo a change, is we can only see with our eyes, we can eat with our mouth, smell with our nose, taste with our tongue, touch with our hands. This can never change. We cannot ever change the tasks that are being carried out by each of our sensual organs. When these do not change, why can't Bhagavan give us a Shastra which is based on these fundamentals? Bhagavan's Shastra is not relevant to a particular period. It cuts across communities, religions, countries, languages, time period, geographical barriers, and whatnot. Here is one Gita which is common to all, which is common to public who would like to upgrade themselves, refine themselves, who would like to elevate and live a better life. There are many other texts that may preach us how to lead a better life here in this material world. But Gita serves two purposes. It tells us how to be peaceful in this world. At the same time, it also tells us how to live peacefully. Not only live peacefully, but how to live peacefully. You can't find many scriptures that tell you about that. You have many management books, you have many social books, many studies on history and society. All these can talk only about what had happened in the history and what is happening today. But nobody tells us, no one tells us how to lead a peaceful life here. Rather, how to leave this world. So Gita is one Shastra which is all-embracive, all-inclusive, and it has come from none other than Sri Krishna himself. If there were many other scriptures, they were all taught by human beings. The probability to err is more. Whereas since Krishna talks about Gita, there is no probability at all. He cannot err. Whom will I listen to? Whom will I rely upon? If I am in trouble, I need to seek advice. And I would of course seek to a person who is well known to me, first of all, and who is my well-wisher, so that he never misguides me. I will believe in a well-wisher, and he must be wise enough. If my tutor is not wise, there is no point in me listening to him. So he must be wise enough, he must be my well-wisher, and he must be one who will never misguide me. Don't we find all these qualities in Krishna? If a person advises me for money, expecting something in reciprocation, then he may misguide me. But here is Vyasa, Bhishmacharya, Dharmaputra. You can list those names. All these people have preached us not for anything in return. Yes, they wanted something in return. They wanted all of us to follow Sanatana Dharma. So they expect us to do something, and that something is not going to benefit them. That's going to benefit us again. So here is a Shastra which guides us in this life. Can we draw some source from Bhagavad Gita? It has 18 chapters and 700 shlokas. The number 18 itself is quite significant in Mahabharata. The number of days the battle was fought was 18. The number of parvas in Mahabharata is 18. The number of chapters in Gita is 18. So with 18 chapters and 700 shlokas, you find everything you need in Bhagavad Gita. But what we are going to discuss today is how can we solve our problems in this daily life using Bhagavad Gita. Gita solves all problems, but problems differ between century to century, millennium to millennium. The last century problems were different. This century the problems are different. Similarly, the problems of Krita Yuga were different. Dwapara was different. Treta is different. Kali is different. But there is one similarity. There is one point we can strike that common chord. The chord is Gita would solve problems. Whatever may be the problems, Gita has a solution to this. How is that possible? Unless you identify the set of problems, how will Gita answer? It will answer. How do you write a software code? There is a software, or there are many products that are being released by big companies. They are all source codes, software. You learn them and you tailor make them for a particular company. A company needs a solution. The same solution is not given by any software. That software had to be made to give that solution. Can you say that? How did a software which worked for a car company, will it work for an aeroplane company? Will it work for a tape recorder company? It would, because the fundamentals are the same. 2 plus 2 never changes. That remains to be 4. 10 plus 10 will never change. That remains. Similarly, the basics, the fundamentals of Gita can be tailor-made to any situation, can be done to give a solution to any of our problems. So let us first list our problems as of today, whatever we face, and try to find solution from Gita. Problems may differ from individual to individual. Again, that's a problem. We are all not alike. We differ. Logo bhinna ruchihi. Your ruchi, your taste is not similar as her taste. You differ, they differ. We differ in our taste, we differ in our preferences, we differ in our home. Even in the same home which we live, we change the place at least where the furnitures are placed. We don't like them to be kept in the same place. If it's 2-3 years, we change the curtains, we change the furnitures. The same. But still I need to live in that house. We don't want to. We want a change. That change is inevitable. That change always happens. So we all differ. And this life is interesting only because we differ. If we are all alike, then we'll be robots. We will no more be human beings. As we differ, life is interesting. So let us first understand whether all our problems are similar or dissimilar. Do we agree upon the same set of problems? What can they be? In our today's context, one problem would definitely be, how do I win over my materialistic wishes, my needs, my wants that keep on increasing every day? Should I go behind this wild goose chase or stop somewhere? We keep running. Don't ever think that this life is a running race. We can't. If that be the case, then only one can win. We are so many millions and billions of people. If this is a race can be won by only one athlete. 10 people, all the one who run the race cannot win the race at all. So if we presume that all these populace, all the people are running the same race, there will be one who will win, then all others would lose. Whereas in life, none can lose. Everyone must be successful. Everyone must win. It should be a win-win situation. That itself proves this life is not a race. It is not a challenge. If we take it as a race, then we will only be trying to outbeat others. And in the bargain, it will be misery all over. So this is not a race. Or is this a problem? Is this life full of problems? Is life itself a problem? If so, we will only waste time in finding solution to the problem. We will never lead this life. So this life is neither a problem nor a race. Then what is it exactly? It is only a golden opportunity given to us by Bhagavan. This is an opportunity to lead a good life and be helpful to others. That's very important. To find peace, to be successful in every endeavor, to find the purpose and fulfill the purpose of life. That's what we are all born. We are all alike. We are equal. We may differ in our taste, but there are some aspects to it where we are all common. We are all common in a platform. We talk about big tectonic plates. This whole world is just stationed on those tectonic plates. But we don't know. We think that America is different, Canada is different, South America is different, Brazil is different. Now we get to know when there is a big earthquake, then we know that many countries are on the same plate. And within one country there may be two plates joining and they may break the country even. Now we get to know all of us are in one plate. But earlier we were only demarcating every country with boundaries. So boundaries are always man-made. Bhagavan never wants any boundaries. He has only one boundary. I am the master, you are my servant. Except that he never wishes to have any boundary. We can't claim to be Paramatma ourselves. He would only be the master always and we need to be his servant. So we have a set of problems. The first problem is, how do we balance between materialism and spirituality? Are we all materialistic? Why do we keep running? Should we keep running at all? Even if we run, how do we use spirituality? I am a spiritual person. I am Atma myself. Then why am I behind all this? There is a peer pressure that has set in today. I don't know about this country, but in India, if you are in standard 10, from 10th to as when you complete your engineering and get a job, every student has to run. You can't think back. You can't attend to any spiritual class. You can't go to a temple. You can't waste a minute of your life. It is that much precious to them. And even if they don't want to, their parents are going to hold them. You need to go. You go to all the classes. It's right from 4 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. in the night. Why do they run? This was not the case in earlier days. So come 9th standard to your completion of college course, you run. A student runs. Why so? It is peer pressure. All go to engineering colleges. Why not arts? Why not pure sciences? They don't go. Because all go to pure engineering. If I don't admit my student in an engineering college, I am looked down. People say, here is a person who did not get a seat in engineering. As though I was born for engineering. Bhagavan created me to go to an engineering college. This is what we think. It is not so. So it is peer pressure that makes the students run. Similarly, when you go to an office, you get a job, it is again a peer pressure. That guy has been promoted. Why not me? He has got an increment. Why not me? He has built a house. Why not me? So the whole life is comparative. I compare myself with others. I never want to identify myself. I am me. Why should I worry about somebody else? Me and my master who is inside. Me and my God. Let me first know about them. Let me realize the God inside me, then try to understand about others. Once I realize myself and my God, I will automatically, naturally know who others are. So let's now know why spirituality or why materialism. How do we balance between spirituality and materialism? Is spirituality required at all or not? Is there an answer in Gita? If so, how do we recognize that and how do we practice that? This is the first problem. Second problem, whoever even wants to follow customs and practices, if we grew in an orthodox family, in a traditional family, we would like to practice all, but my next generation, my son or daughter, they don't agree to what I say. I just accepted whatever my parents told me. Today, my son is willing to accept, but he questions me a lot. I need to reply to him. Should I reply? Should I not? First of all, do I have the replies to his question? Am I adept in replying to him? This is the second problem we all face. How do we pass on this tradition to the next generation? Assuming we want to. I am not talking about people who themselves do not want to do that. I am talking about people who want to do that, but at a loss to find a way. They do not know how to do that. This is our second problem. We have one more problem today. One is materialism. Two is the next generation problem. Third is, how do I control my senses? I have got indriyas, my sensual organs. How do we control them? If I know to control them, there are so many issues which I can solve. Since I am not able to control them, both mentally and physically, I feel weak. I feel alone. I am depressed. I am helpless. I do not know what to do. Is there anybody to help me? Many people get into one, diverse problem. Two, mental depression. There are many problems attached today. And with this fast way of life, earning life, the higher disposable income, the faster and quicker Western culture, we have these problems attached to it. Whenever there is something good, take that good. Nobody denies that. Whether it be east or west or north or south, anything that is good, take it from there. But just because we take the good out of it, we should not smell the bad too. There are many things that are bad there. You need to abandon them. Just keep them away and choose only the good. When I make this, you may think that, can I have and eat it too? I cannot. I can either take the good and bad, or leave the good and bad. How is that I can choose the good and leave the bad? You must know that from a bird. It's called Hamsa. You would have heard about it. This Hamsa bird is a great, glorious, divine swan. It had that capability of distinguishing between water and milk. If milk and water were mixed, this bird can distinguish. It can separate milk and water. That is known as Viveka Jnana. In Sanskrit, it is known as Viveka Jnana. In simple English terms, it is a reasoning power. I reason, this is what is to be done and this is to be renounced. I can do this and abstain from that. If I am able to reason between these two and rightly pick what is to be and rightly leave what is to be, you know how to play cricket. Not in this country, it is not so popular, but still, since we are Indians, we know what cricket is all about. In cricket, it is not that you need to strike all the ball, but you must know any ball that goes outside the off stump, how to leave that delivery. That's very, very important. If you touch that delivery, then you will of course give a catch to your wicket keeper, all the slips. So you must also know your off stump. You must know which delivery to strike and which not to. That is Viveka Jnana. That is reasoning power. If I know that this is what I am going to do and I'll abstain from this, then it's good. Only then we will be able to tread journey well. So the third problem which we have is, I would like to control my senses. I would not like to do so many things, but even involuntarily I am pushed into doing all those things. Why? I didn't want to do this, but I am still being pushed to do all those. Why do I do? How do I abstain from doing them? Is there a way out? Am I capable enough to accomplish this? This is the third question which we have. Let's answer only for these three questions today and keep three more for tomorrow. So we'll try and find answer. To find that, you need to spend at least 15-20 minutes along with me, which may be slightly difficult. But unless we understand this, I won't be able to rightly put across the Gita verses to you. I may tell you some stories here and get away. You will also get away, I would also get away. But I have not come here to tell you stories. You already know Mahabharata stories, you know Ramayana stories, you know all the stories better than me. So let me tell you some philosophical thoughts, some concepts and doctrines which are difficult to understand. So you need to say correct now. When I tell you, you can relax. This is like seat belts in an aircraft. For the first 15-20 minutes, you need to tie up. Then on you can relax. Let's understand who we are. We are Jivatma and we have this body. This body of course is not Jivatma. This is the first thing we need to know. This is Dehatma Abhimana. This is a confusion that Deha and Atma are one and the same. In this confusion adds many problems to me. Many problems in this world would get solved the moment you realize that this Atman is different from the body. Body has a different essential nature. Atman is totally different. Their nature are, body is temporary and perishable. Of course, it gets destroyed. It can get damaged. It changes. It grows. It deteriorates. All this happens to the body. Whereas to an Atman, nothing affects. Atman is always eternal and he remains the same. He never changes. This distinguishing characters, the different characteristics of body and Atman is the first thing we need to know. Dehatma Viveka Jnana. What we are plagued with is Dehatma Bhimana. Dehame Atma. We misconstrue that Deham and Atma are one and the same. Whereas we need to know, we need to differentiate Deha, Atma, Viveka. Viveka, they both are different. Dehatma Viveka Jnana. I reason that this body is totally different from Atman. How do I do that? Me, whenever I say I or me, aham in Sanskrit, nan in Tamil, I or me in English, that refers to the Atman. Whenever I say mine, that refers to the body. When I say mine, anything that is related to me is body. Anything that belongs to me is body. Me is Atman. So don't ever say my Atma. That is not right. It is me Atma. It is I the Atma and not my the Atma. When I say my tape recorder, my microphone, my record player, my carpet, my dhoti, my angavastram, my ring, my body, all fine, but not my Atma. Because me is Atma. I am Atma and all things other than me belongs to me or does not belong to me. They are all achit. They are all insentient. Now you distinguish between the sentient and the insentient. Sentient is that which possesses knowledge, which is embodiment of knowledge by itself, and it is blessed with knowledge. That is sentient, and that's the Atman. All the insentient, they don't have knowledge. They are achit. In Sanskrit, we call the sentient as the chit and the insentient as the achit. Chaitanya is jnana. Chaitanya is knowledge. If we have knowledge, then we have chit. If we don't have knowledge, then we were equivalent to achit. This mic, this public address system has no knowledge. It's a machine. This tape recorder, it has no knowledge. It's again a machine. My body has no knowledge. It's again a machine. My body would not work. It would not perform if I am out of this body. The moment this Atma exits this body never works. The dead body cannot see, cannot touch, cannot smell, can do nothing. So is it not clear that this body was moving just now, it was affected by heart attack, it's dead. What is the difference between these two bodies? Body remains the same. You find the same eyes and the same ears, but they are not working. உடனே என்ன சொல்லுவோம்? பிராணன் போயிடுது. In Tamil we say that the prana has left, the Atman has exited. If he has gone out, then who was he? Body is very much there. I am able to see. I was not able to see anyone exiting the body. Nothing was visible to me. People say some smoke came. Nothing will come. It will maybe that smoke would have been somebody would have lit a lamp because he's going to die, and that would have been that smoke. So nothing will exit. We can't see anything. But the Atman exits. That one who exited is the Atman, who lived inside is the Atman, and that Atman possesses this body. This distinguishing, this difference is very, very important. It is imperative that we know that. Once we know that, we will only have more confusion. When you did not know that, you were happily living. Now that we know about it, then let me give you this example. I call you by name. Suppose somebody is known as Rangarajan here. I call him Rangarajan. He comes close to me. I ask him, why did you come? You called me. That's why I came. I never called you. Is your body named Rangarajan or your Atman named Rangarajan? When I ask him that, he will get confused. You called me, I came. If you don't want, kindly tell me, I will go back. Why are you questioning whether my Atman is named as Rangarajan or body is named as Rangarajan? This body can only be named. Atman cannot be named. And the name Rangarajan is for this life, for this birth. I was not called Rangarajan in my earlier birth. I may not be called as Rangarajan in my next birth. So in this birth I am known as Rangarajan. So the name Rangarajan is relevant only to this body. It has no relevance with the Atma, which is beyond this birth. Atma was eternal always. That was beyond birth, beyond this cycle of birth. But still, why do we call the body as Rangarajan? Yes, I know this form. Whenever I think about Rangarajan, I know that he is 6 feet tall, he is 80 kilos in weight, he is bespectacled, and he is dark in complexion. I know. So I relate this name Rangarajan to his body, and certainly not to the Atman. Whereas, once this Atma has exited the body of Rangarajan, call that body by name Rangarajan. Will it look back to you? Will it come close to you? It will not. Then, am I not right in telling that I called Rangarajan that Atman only? Because when the Atman is no more in this body is not responding. So whom did I call? If then you can deduce that I called the Atman only. Whereas Atman cannot be named, because this body and this birth is called as Rangarajan and not the earlier birth. This is the anomaly. This is the confusion we have. If you think that the body and the Atman are same, we cannot answer many questions. We call the body cannot respond because it has no knowledge by itself. It is only the Atma which is knowledgeable. If I give a call, the Atma understands that I am being called in this birth as Rangarajan, so I need to move my limbs and go close by. This is what the Atma recognizes. Only the Atma can recognize. Who can understand or realize or recognize? One who has knowledge. This body has no knowledge. Only Atma has knowledge. This Atma's knowledge must blossom. It must agree that I am different from this body. If it knows that, yes, then you are revelated. You are a realized soul. Instead, if I think I take this body of Krishnan, if I have to say Krishnan, you know how I must represent myself? Now I say I am Krishnan. I should not say so. I, the Atman, has taken a body this birth which is known as Krishnan. This is how I should represent myself. Whenever you go to anybody, prostrate before anybody, get up and tell them with folded arms, I, the Atman, have taken this body known as Krishnan in this birth. By the time I tell this, I won't find the person before me. He would be confused and he would have left the place by then. We can't keep talking like that. But the issue is, I think that I, the Atman, is one and the same as this body. There is an Atman inside the body of a lion. There is an Atman inside the body of a cat. That Atman thinks to be a cat. This Atman thinks that it is a lion, whereas it is not so. It has taken the body of a lion. It has taken the body of a cat. I have taken the body of a human being. So me, the Atman, is different from the body. This is known as Dehatma Viveka Jnana. To know this is very imperative. This is basic. This is the fundamental which Gita Krishna preaches. Why Krishna started to talk about this? Because Arjuna's cause for confusion was this. He thought, if I kill Bhishmacharya, he, the Atman himself, would get killed. It is not so. If I shoot an arrow on Bhishma or Dronacharya, his body would fall dead, not the Atman. Bhagavan wanted to clarify this to Arjuna. Arjuna was lamenting. Arjuna was all in tears because he thought he is going to kill the Atman himself. It is not so. Atman is perennial. He is eternal. He is not perishable. So Krishna, wanting to clarify this concept to Arjuna, the whole of second chapter spent about Dehatma Viveka Jnana. It all started in the 12th verse of second chapter. Natvevaham jatunasam natvanneme janathipaha nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarvevayam atah param. O Arjuna, I am eternal. You are eternal. All the kings who have gathered here in both the sides, they are all eternal. Arjuna thought, then why are we here to kill people? When you say everyone is eternal, then there is no point in shooting an arrow against Bhishma or Dronacharya. We are all going to live. Krishna said, I refer to the Atman, Arjuna, not the bodies which you are able to see. These bodies would fall, whereas the Atman inside would never fall. Arjuna asks, is this body different from Atma? You know about it, Arjuna. When you say it's my chariot or my horses or my charioteer, you also say my body. Are you not knowing that your body is different? When I say this is my chariot, of course I know this chariot is not me. When I say my tape recorder, I know this tape recorder is not me. When I say my hand, why do you think it is me? When I use the word my, then itself it is different. I am not this object. Whereas when I say my hand or my head or my ears, I think I am that. It is not so. As this tape recorder is different from me, so is my body different from me. So Krishna telling to priest that to Arjuna, he said, Antavanta ime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashinaha aprameyasya tasmatu yudhyasva. Oh Arjuna, get up. Don't lament anymore. Get up to fight. Antavanta ime dehaha. All these bodies have an end. Antavanta ime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha. Whereas the shariri, the one who dwells inside this body, the one who has taken this body due to karma, the Atman, is eternal. Nityasyokta sharirinaha. Sharira is body, which perishes. Shariri, the one who possesses this body, the one who has taken this body in this birth. Shariri is the Atma. Nityasyokta sharirinaha. Antavanta ime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashinaha aprameyasya. Atma never undergoes any change, whereas this body ever changes. It changes every minute. It changes every day. Asti, jayate, parinamate, vivardhate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. This is known as Shat Bhava Vikara. This is the change cycle which every object has to undergo. Asti, it is there. Jayate, it's born. Vivardha, parinamate, it changes. Vivardhate, it grows. Apakshiyate, it deteriorates. Vinashyati, it's gone. So these are the 6 changes which are inevitable. Everything has to go through these changes. But Atman does not undergo this problem. Paramatma, he never undergoes this problem. So it is the body that undergoes this change. This body is different from the Atman. This first jnana which we need to. I'll relate later on. First let us understand the concept that's given in Gita. Then we will know how these are applicable in our daily life. So let's first understand this. Dehatma Bhimana and dispelling that confusion is the first. Krishna further added, these Atmans are perennial, Arjuna, whereas this body is not. You know why? He gives some reasons to it. Atman has no limbs, whereas this body is made of many parts. This body is not one, whereas Atman is one. This body is made of Pancha Bhuta, the 5 basic elements for creation. Prithvi, Apu, Tejas, Vayu, Akasha. Earth, ether, fire, water and wind. These 5 are the Pancha Bhutas. They are the 5 basic elements for creation. This body is a mixture of all these 5. Whereas Atman is not a product of these at all. Atman, the eternal one, is not made of this Panchabhuta. Instead, it is one, and that's knowledge. Atman is knowledge by himself. We call it as Jnanamaya. For example, this ring is Swaranamaya. It's made of gold. And this is made of iron. So, this is Lohamaya. Lohamaya, Swaranamaya, Panchabhutamaya. My body is Panchabhutamaya. This ring is Swaranamaya. This is Lohamaya. Some metal, maybe iron or any other metal. This is Lohamaya. Similarly, what is Atma made of? Jnanamaya. It is full of knowledge. So it is only made up of one element and not a mixture of many. If anything is a mixture of many, then it deteriorates fast. I'll give an example. It happens. Water, you can store for any number of months. Suji, rava, you can store of any number of months. Salt, you can store. Add all the 3 and make upma, it won't be there tomorrow. So once you mix something, it immediately deteriorates. Once nothing is mixed, it is safe. You can store it for any number of days you want. So here is a mixture. This sharira is a mixture of panchabhuta. That's the reason it deteriorates. If it has no elements like Jivatma, it will not perish at all. So this Atman and the Sharira, due to many reasons, one is perennial, one is eternal, and the other perishes. Once you distinguish this, let us go to the next issue. Arjuna understood, yes, these two are totally different. Na bhavo vidyate satah. Abhavaha vidyate satah. Na sato vidyate bhavaha. Na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayorapi vittontas tanayoho tattva darishibihi. The learned, the scholars have agreed to this, Arjuna, that to this perishable body there is nothing that is eternal. To this eternal Atman there is nothing that is perishable. This Atman is ever eternal. This body is ever perishable. Do not confuse between the two. Arjuna said, yes, let me not confuse. Then was the next problem. Now that we have crossed the first hurdle, we are led to the second hurdles. Then, who am I? You said this is not body. Till I misconstrue that I am this body, I am very happy. You can go, you can borrow, need not repay, lead a very happy life. Even if you don't repay, the government is going to pay for you. So that's the way it is. So once you realize that you are body, be happy, enjoy life. That's where it ends. Whereas now that I have understood I am different from this body, then the search begins. Who am I? What am I? Why have I taken this body? Then why is this body imprisoned to me? How am I going to get released of this body? If this birth is over, where do I reach? Why do I go? Who decides my destination? Which is my destination? There are plethora of questions. Too many questions will come to our mind. Let's find answers to all these questions. If I am this Atman, first question would be, am I independent or dependent? Can I take my own decisions, or am I driven and controlled by somebody else? Atmans would again, our nature is to first wrongly conceive ideas, then listen to Shastras, and then only correct ourselves. We never go the right way. I came here by 6:10. I should have come to this hall by 6:30. But unfortunately, I was very much in this neighborhood, nowhere outside. But everyone who knew the way were only directing me. But I couldn't reach this place. The end result was the same. I could not reach this place on time. I was going around and around. All of the people knew where I am, but I could not reach this place. So we all know, the first instance, we will take it wrongly. We will understand anything wrongly. Then we are told we will correct ourselves. If we don't correct even then, nobody can correct us. When you give directions to somebody, turn right, again turn right, go left is fine. But if you tell them, there will be a crossroad, there will be a junction, a T junction. In that junction, take right, do not take left. When you make that statement, as soon as I reach there, I will have a doubt, did he tell me to take a right or a left? So say, only give one direction. Don't give the negative at all. If you say positive, stick to that. If you add a negative to that, then exactly I will find difficulty there. I will get confused there. Krishna never does it. He told exactly that you, the Atman, is eternal and the body is perishable. Once Arjuna learned the supremacy of Atman over this body, he felt very, very lofty. This loftiness, this haughtiness paves the way for the next problem. Krishna gave all reasons to prove that the Atman is supreme to the body. But once listening to all these reasons, Arjuna thought, I am the supreme. Because that's what Krishna told now. To establish his supremacy over this body, I think he overplayed the game. By the time he thought that Arjuna would have realized the difference between Atman and the body, yes, he understood that rightly. But unfortunately, the listener would start thinking that I am the supreme, I am the controller, I am the master, I could get everything done. Krishna hastily added, that's not so, Arjuna. Then you will be trespassing in my area. That's not your jurisdiction. It is me who controls this universe and not you. So the second problem is Swatantriyabhimana, that I am independent of everything. I control myself. I take decisions. I know how to lead my life. This is Swatantriyabhimana. You need to abstain from that. You need to dispel that. How do we do? We are not alone here. We can never organize or get done anything alone. We can only do it with the cooperation of 5 different entities. Krishna said, you are not alone, Arjuna. You think that you are doing. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Ahankara vimudhatma, covered by ahankara. You get misled. Ahankara is anahattai ahamaha nanaittal. What is ahankara? We say haughtiness is ahankara. Egoism ahankara. It's not the right meaning. The meaning is anaham. Something is not me. Aham is me. Anaham is not me. What is not me? This body is not me. So this is known as anaham. Me. Aham. Anaham is not aham. Anaham is different from aham. Whereas I misunderstand anaham to be aham. Once I think this anaham is aham, this is ahankara. Anahattai ahamaha nanaittal ahankara. Anaham should be separate. Aham should be separate. Whereas I misconstrue both to be the same. This is ahankara. So once I do this, then I am led to swatantriyabhimana. When once I dispelled my ahankara, now that I know this Atman is supreme, this Atman is different from body, then I understand that I am independent. I don't report to anybody. Krishna says, no. Prakrite kriyamanani gunaih karmani sarvashaha. Now Arjuna, understand why are you driven and how are you driven. Have you seen a charioteer driving a chariot? The horses would run. How is this charioteer, how will he control the horses? He has ropes and with that he controls the horses. He cannot directly catch hold of the horse and control. There is a rope through which he controls. Similarly, Bhagavan controls all of us and he has some ropes, some reins in his hand, and those reins are our karma. Whatever karma we do are the reins in the hand of Bhagavan, and through them he controls us. Our body, we have taken this body. Prakrite kriyamanani. This body is a product of Prakriti. This is where you need to be very, very attentive. My father used to tell me, whatever difficult subject you want to deal, do it in the first 45 minutes. Not certainly in the second 45 minutes. People would be attentive only in the first half. And after that they will lose attention and they would like to look at the clock. When will we leave? It is always better that the clock is put there, not this side. If it is there, only we the Upanyasakas can look at the clock. You must not be given an opportunity to look at the clock at all. There are some certain things which you look at the clock, we will lose track of it. We can't go through what we want to. So now be very attentive. With me, the Atman, I am given this body. Why did I take this body? Due to my karma. I did some actions which led me to papam or punyam. What is papam or what is punyam? Shastra, the Vedas, they prescribe some do's and don'ts. If I do the do's, that's punyam to me. If I do the don'ts, that is papam to me. If I don't the don't, that is punyam to me. So, if I do something that is said, prescribed by the Shastras, that is punyam. If I do something that asks me to abstain from, that is papam. So, it is just a simple matrix of 4 by 4. There are some do's, I do them. Do's, I don't. Punya and papa. There are some don'ts, I don't. That is punyam. There are some don'ts, I do. That is papa. So, I should act as per the guidance of Vedas. If I do that, then it is punyam. If I don't, it is papa. So, these are the karmas. This papa and punya are as a result of my actions. These karmas are always with the Atma. They never leave. I may go beyond bodies, I may go beyond births, but still my karmas would never be spent. They never get exhausted. I may leave this body, but when an Atma exits this body, he exits along with the karma and he enters along with the karma. Have you seen a worm, a grasshopper or a worm? They will migrate, they will shift from one leaf to the other. They will have about 16-18 legs. They will first catch hold of the next leaf. Half the body would go there and slowly they will get released from the earlier leaf. Then the whole body would get shifted there. Similarly, this Atma, when he shifts from one body to the other, he goes along with his karma, chooses another body as a result of that karma, slowly finds his feet there, releases from this body. So he chooses the other, reaches there, abandons this body. So this Atma always is found along with this karma. The karmas, they don't get exhausted at all. Why karma? Why can't we say this Atman has no karma? Whatever I do, it's lost here. It's not possible. Because when I am born, you tell me a reason. Why should I be son of a Vedic scholar? Why should another be son of president of this country? Why should another be an animal? Why should another be a bird? Why should someone be dark? Why should someone be fair? Why should someone be virtuous? Why should someone be wicked? There must be a reason to it. Cause and effect cannot be separated. Cause and effect always go together. The effect is what I am today. Where is the cause? When I am born with a silver spoon. I am born with this much of wealth. Why? Why not somebody else? He is below the poverty line, whereas I am a millionaire or a billionaire. What made me take this birth? No science can reply to this question. They can only say it is just by coincidence. How much can you talk about coincidence? Coincidence can be in simple aspects. It cannot be the basis for this entire creation and birth. I am created. I am born. Why am I born? And what differentiates me from somebody else? There must be a close relationship between cause and effect. Effect is what I am born as. Where is the cause? Search for the cause. If I say that whatever I am in this birth, that is my result, I agree to you. But whatever you are on the first day of your birth, you are yet to begin to do anything. Then where is the cause? I have not done anything at all. This child is born. It is born as a millionaire or a pauper. It has not started to do anything in this life. Then who decided that child to be a millionaire? Then they say, okay, let me say this way. Then it would have been the mother who was the cause. It is the action of the mother which decides the birth of the child. Can we say so? If we say so, then there will be chaos in this world. Because if I have cold, you can have medicine. Because one's action can have a bearing on another. That's what we proved now. If the mother's action can decide the birth of a baby, then I can have medicine, you must be cured. If you are feeling hungry, I can have food. If I am thirsty, you can drink water. That never happens. Me and me, the cause and effect must be with a single individual. It can't be with two different individuals. If I feel hungry, I have to take food. If I feel thirsty, I have to drink water. If I am suffering from headache or anything, I have to consume medicines. Similarly, if I am born as a pauper, then that must be an effect of the cause which is with me and not with anybody else. For in which case, me came into existence only on the first day. The first day I am existing. Then where and when could I have done something else? Which is the cause for this effect now? That has to necessarily be previous to this, before this, and that can be in a different birth only. So unless we agree upon births and cycles of births and karma continuing with the Atman, you cannot answer any of these questions. That is the reason why Sanatana Dharma has been advocating this karma philosophy for long. Many people may agree, they may not agree. But whoever does not agree, they must also substantiate their claim. Why does it happen? Why is there a difference between a millionaire and a pauper? Why someone is learned and why someone is not? Because the cause is with me. The cause is what I did in my earlier births. This karma is ever found with the Jivatma. But karma cannot be identified. It is not visual. It can only be felt. By the effect of karma, we can only feel that this is what we have done. If you ask me a question, do you know what are all your karmas? I don't know. I'll be at a loss to explain them. Then once you don't have an account of them at all, how will you exhaust them? If you ask me, what are your karmas? I only know they are all papams. That much I can confirm. I can tell you that there are no punyams. That's the reason why we are loitering around here. So I know that there are a lot of papams. But if you ask me to list which janma, when did you commit this, why did you commit this, I don't know. I don't have an account. There was a saint. A gentleman, a public. He wanted to have darshan of that saint. He had coffee before he left home. Morning he had a coffee. Then before he left he had coffee. After reaching the ashram, he had a coffee for the third time. Then on his turn came, he went and met the saint. There was a stain in his cloth, whatever he was wearing. The saint noticed that. He asked him, is there a stain? Yes, there is. Why don't you clean it? He cleaned it. Then the saint asked him, When did you attract this stain? He said, I had coffee in the morning. So that must be the time when I got stained. Then the saint asked, when did you have coffee? He had a confusion. I had coffee thrice. Before I left home, then right in the morning, before I left home, after I reached the ashram. The saint asked, why can't you specify when was the stain? Why don't you do, you have cleaned the stain, but you don't know when that stain, you attracted the stain. The person replied, I don't think that is relevant. It is what matters is I need to clean my stain. Similarly, which janma, which birth you attracted, papam does not matter. You need to clean them. That's more important. எப்ப இது அழுக்கப்பட்டதுங்கிறது முக்கியம் இல்லை, அழுக்க clean பண்றேனாங்கிறது தான முக்கியம். So I need to remove dirt. I might have attracted dirt in any birth which I don't know. So if you ask me for an account for that, I don't have. But one thing for sure I know is I have a lot of problems with me, and that is the effect. The effect of it is with me. Now this, whether it is suffering, whether it is pain or sorrow or joy, it's all an effect of my karma. This body is known as prakrita. Prakriti is the primordial nature, which is the cause for creation. Bhagavan creates this entire universe with Moola Prakriti. Prakriti is insentient. It is known as Achit. So that primordial nature is the cause of my body. I'll tell you why. From Moola Prakriti, a tattva called Mahan is born. Mahan transforms to Ahankara. That's again a tattva. That's an element of creation. From Ahankara, the Panchabhutas get created. And this body is a product of Panchabhuta. So, you take a chain. It's a chain. From Prakriti to Mahan, Mahan to Ahankaram, Aharankaram to Panchabhuta, Panchabhuta to this body. So, this body is indirectly a product of Prakriti. That's why this is known as Prakrita. This body is Prakrita. But Atman, Aprakrita. Please note the difference. Atman is not a product of primordial nature. Atman is not a product of Prakriti. So it is known as Aprakrita. Whereas the Sharira is Prakrita, is a product of Prakriti. Prakriti has always three modes. It has three qualities. They are Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Krishna tells them here, Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha. O Arjuna, note that the Prakriti is always made up of three. It is a mixture of Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Sattvam, Rajas, Tamayiti gunaha, Prakriti sambhavaha. This Prakriti is ever, always, inseparable with these three. Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Sattvam is the quality of serenity. It clears all confusions. You are very straight, you are very clear, you are knowledgeable, you are wise, you are ever active, you can do anything you want to. This is Sattva-guna, the effect of Sattva-guna. This is not Sattva-guna, this is the effect of Sattva-guna. Rajoguna is a quality of activity. You want to do a lot, you feel very lusty, look at anything, you want to have that, you feel angry always, you are restless, you panic. This is all the effect of Rajoguna. Lastly, the quality of inertia, that's Tamoguna. Tamoguna, the effect of Tamoguna is confusion, sleepiness, laziness. This is the effect of Tamoguna. So Sattam, Rajas and Tamas are the three modes of nature. These are three qualities which are inseparable from the primordial nature Prakriti. If our body is a product of Prakriti, tell me, will the body also not have these three? Because the cause is Prakriti and the cause is ever with this Sattam, Rajas and Tamas. If a clay is red, I'll get out a red pot only. Can I get a green pot? If the nature of the clay, if the color of the clay is red, I'll get a red pot. If the material I choose to make a ring is gold, I'll get a golden ring. If the material is silver, I'll get a silver ring. So whatever were the qualities of the cause, you will find the same in the effect. So Prakriti has Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. So is my body. This body is inseparable with Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Note till that. What have we dealt with now? The body is different from the Atman. Atman has lot of actions, karmas, and due to that karma, it has to take this body. This body is a product of primordial nature, Prakriti, so it's known as Prakrita. Prakriti always is with Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas, so is my body. So my body has also Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Let's go further. Kama yeshaha, Krodha yeshaha, Rajoguna samudbhavaha, Mahashanaha mahapapma, Vidhi yena miha vairinam, Jahisatrum mahabaho. Krishna further elaborates. He says that, Arjuna, you have Rajoguna. This Rajoguna would not remain dormant. It is ever active. It wants to create something, and it creates something that's your enemy. Rajoguna samudbhavaha, Kama and Krodha. Kama is greediness, it is a lust, it is desire, it is glorified desire. Krodha is anger. Always Kama transforms to Krodha. If any tussle, any war, any battle, any anger, any fight, whether in your family or outside, wherever it is, definitely there will be an underlying Kama. If there is Krodha somewhere, if you find anger somewhere, for sure there will be some Kama underlying. Without Kama, without an attachment or desire, nobody feels angry at all. I wanted to accomplish something. I did, no anger. I am not angry with anybody. If I am not able to, then immediately I start jumping. Whoever made this not possible, I frown on them. I am furious on them. So this Kama transforms to Krodha. You can say both are sons of the same mother. Kama yeshaha, Krodha yeshaha, Rajoguna samudbhavaha. So Rajoguna gives birth to Kama and Krodha. Let us for the time being forget Krodha, because anyhow Kama is more important. But for Kama we would not get Krodha at all. Krodho hanyatu krudha hanyatu guru napi. This is saying, it says that a krudha, one who is anger, loses his reasoning power. He can kill his guru even. He goes to that extent. So let's forget that krodha for some time. We will only stick on to Kama. We will take Kama. Kama is the product of Rajoguna. Where is Rajoguna? In this body. Is Atma, will Atma possess Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas? No. Because Prakriti had Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Body is the product of Prakriti. So it is the body that gets pulled and pushed and get affected by Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. One of these three qualities is Rajoguna. So Rajoguna gives birth to Kama. This Kama, what is the job of this Kama? This Kama starts affecting this Atma. This Atma is inside the body. Body is full of Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. One of that is Rajas. That gives birth to Kama. This Kama will not remain idle. It has to do its job. What it does is, now let's go to the other scene. I am going to shift the scene. This is a drama now. So we will shift the scene. Atma is sentient. This is where we began. The body is insentient, whereas Atma is sentient, which has Jnana. It is full of knowledge. This Jnana, if it is bright, if this Jnana is effulgent, Atma would be liberated. So, this Kama would go and cover that Jnana. This Kama covers the Jnana, it hides, it veils the Jnana, so that Atma's Jnana is covered. Atma is not able to understand, realize the truth. Why? Because of Papam and Punyam. This Atma has lot of karmas that the karma has to affect. How? Through a body. It gives a birth. What happens if I have a body? I am affected by Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Why? What happens if I am affected by Sattva, Rajas, Tamas? Due to Rajas, I have Kama. And the Kama again comes and veils. It covers my Jnana. It is like clouds covering the sun. You can't see the sun. The clouds have to be removed. They have to get removed. They have to go away. My Atman is full of Jnana, but unfortunately, this Kama, it engulfs. It embraces. It covers this. Krishna says, Dhumena avriyate vanhihi yathadarsho malenacha gudbhena avruto garbha tada tenedam avrutam. Krishna takes three examples. Dhumena avruto vanhihi. As smoke covers fire. Dhumena avruto vanhihi. Yathadarsho malenacha. As dirt covers a mirror. Yathadarsho malenacha. Ulbhena avruto garbha. The garbha is covered by the womb. Ulbhena avruto garbha. Tada. Similarly, tenedam avrutam. The knowledge of this Atman is covered by Kama. So Atman's knowledge being covered by Kama, it is not able to realize many things. What should it realize? It should realize that Deha and Atma are different. It should also realize that this Atma is not Swatantra, it is a Paratantra. It's a dependent. But this Kama never allows that realization. It covers the Jnana of this Atma. Krishna further adds, Indriya Ahankara Indriyani Mano Buddhi Asya Adhishtana Uchyate. Where does this Kama sit? It should find a place. It possesses somebody. We know about Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha, all this voodoo magic and your witchcraft you know of, and they possess. They take some body to their possession and they just make them real, go around. Similarly, this Kama possesses us. It needs somebody to sit upon. It needs something to sit. It sits on Indriyani, Mano, Buddhihi, Asya Ahankara, Adhishtana Uchyate. Indriyani, all our sensual organs. Manas, mind. Buddhi, Buddhi is our Jnana. Buddhi is our Dharma Bhuta Jnana. I have to tell you another difficult concept now. There is something called Dharma Bhuta Jnana to this Atman. Atma, two Jnanas. There are two relevant Jnanas to Atma. One is the Jnana that this Atma is made of. It is known as Dharmik Jnana. There is one other which is Dharmik Jnana, Dharma Bhuta Jnana. That's a quality of the Atman. So the Atma by itself is Jnana. The Atma has a quality which is Jnana. Both are different. Both are not the same. You light a lamp. What is that lamp made of? It is fire itself. It is a light itself. What does it emit? Light. It is made of what? Light. It emits what? Light. Similarly, Atma is made of what? Jnana. It emits what? Jnana. There are two Jnanas here. One is Dharmik Jnana, other is Dharma Jnana. Dharma Jnana is what I have. It is my Jnana. Whereas Dharmik Jnana is me Jnana. Me Jnana is Dharmik Jnana. That will keep on telling me I, me, and me. That is why even after a long sleep for 10 hours, when I get up, I make this statement, Aham Sukham Avapsam. I slept peacefully. My neighbor asked me, you had slept, how do you know it was peaceful or not? You have slept. Then you make a statement that you had a very sound sleep. Who knows? We heard the sound when you were sleeping. The sound sleep is known to us. How will you know whether you had a sound sleep or not? I know. Even when all my sensual organs are shut, they are not operative, I know that because I am alive, I, the Atman, when every other thing is almost dead, he will not know whether if there's a bomb breaks out by the side, he doesn't know. But when he gets up, he says, Aham Sukham Avasam, I slept well. So I, Atma, did not sleep. The body slept, whereas the Atma can only realize that I slept. Body cannot know that it slept. It is insentient. Atma is sentient. So it realizes that I slept. When you sleep, how can you say that I slept well? Because I was awake. Atma never slept. It was awake always. Then I saw everything, none of the organs were working. They were all closed. Let it be. When you go, you ignite a car. You start driving a car. You stop after half an hour driving. You close, come here, attend the lecture. You came here at 6:45, 6:30. When you go back, it is 8:30, 8:45. You again start the car. Will the clock there show 6:45 or 8:45? It will show 8:45. Had you not shut the vehicle, everything was shut, but the inside clock was running. There was an internal battery to the clock, and that clock was not visible outside, but inside it was ticking. It was going on. Similarly, this Atma, as the Dharmik Jnana, will keep on telling me, I. That's the reason why even when I am hurt in an accident, I get admitted in a hospital. For 3-4 days I was unconscious. I get up and ask, where am I? I didn't know the place, but I knew that where am I? Did I ask? I should not have been able to mention I even. If that Atma itself was dead, if that was not there, how can I ask that where am I? My doubt was only regarding the place where I am, not about myself. I know that where am I? I am only worried about a different entity than me. I am not concerned, I have no confusion about me. So whatever source for myself, Whatever tells myself that me and I, that's dharmic jnana. But with dharmic jnana, you can't know that this is a carpet, this is a wire, or this is a photo, or this is a fan. That I don't know. That requires dharma bhuta jnana. So that's the second jnana, which is my quality. My quality, my attribute is jnana, and that attributes make me understand this is a fan, this is a chair, this is a portrait. So there are two jnanas. Atma itself is a jnana, which is dharmic jnana. Atma's dharma bhuta jnana. The Atma possesses a jnana, which is dharma bhuta jnana. If the dharma bhuta jnana is effulgent, it is bright enough, Atma will realize everything. Whereas our friend Kama, it goes and wheels, it goes and covers that dharma bhuta jnana. Indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhishtanam uchyate. This Kama engulfs your indriyas, all your sensual organs. Manas, your mind. Buddhi, which is the dharma bhuta jnana. So all these three are covered by Kama. Once they are covered, what would happen? Kama would drag all these three to his line, the way it wants to. So we never turn towards the Atma. We don't turn towards Bhagavan. How do I get dragged by indriyas? Now let's get into another aspect. Atma has jnana, which is dharma bhuta jnana. That jnana makes me know things, but I need gateways. This jnana cannot just travel, touch that portrait, come back to me and say, this is the portrait of a great saint. It's not so. I need eyes to look at the portrait. So these eyes, or your ears, your tongue, your touch, everything they are all gateways. Jnana travels from Atma and it travels to the subtle manas. Mind is the first gateway. And after manas, it gets classified. It gets separated. Jnana itself gets separated into 5. The jnana required to see is different. The jnana required to taste is different. The knowledge required to smell is different. One is known as chakshusha jnana, shravana jnana. The knowledge necessary to listen to hear to, is a different knowledge. The knowledge required to smell is different. So manas is a gateway, like you take a dam or a reservoir. There is a lot of water stored on the other side of the reservoir. You will find gates. The gates are closed. There are many gates. You have to open the gate. Once you open this gate, then water flows for cultivation to a particular village. Once you open the other gate, then water flows for another village. Don't you know this? Similarly, all this water is jnana that is stored on the other side. You have these sluice gates. The gate is manas first. So the manas classifies the jnana into that which is required for seeing, that which is required for listening, that which is required for smelling, that which is required for tasting. Then the indriya, my eyes, my ears, my hands, all those indriyas now have jnana. That jnana which has traveled from the Atman. So the manas does not have any jnana. Your indriyams, they do not have jnana. It is only the Atma which has that jnana. So Atma supplies jnana to manas, and through the manas jnana travels, it reaches the indriyas, the sensual organs. From there, it goes and contacts the object. That is the object of pleasure. It contacts and it collects the information that this is a portrait of a great saint. It gets back to manas, informs manas, and manas get back to Atma. The Atma realizes this is a portrait. But this process is too difficult to explain. But it happens in a second. When we see, we know who is it. But in that split of a second, this is the process that happens. Because you have to agree to this process. Because once the Atma exits, this process does not take place. If you show the same portrait, this body is not going to recognize. So it does not have that jnana. Atma's jnana that travels, it passes through manas, it gets classified, it goes to the sensual organs. From there it comes in contact with the objects of pleasure, it gets the information. This is the process which we need to understand. Now, where is the problem in this process? Why am I not looking at the deity of Bhagavan? Instead, I look at a disco dance. Why? We need to answer that question. When this Atma has jnana, and that jnana travels to manas and then to the indriyas and then to the objects, What makes me look at someone else than Bhagavan? Why not the deity of Krishna or Rama? Why the idol of somebody else? There must be some problem in this process. We need to analyze this process and find exactly where the trouble is. This is what we call as your supply chain management. There is a long supply chain, right from the produce where you manufacture till it reaches the consumer. There is a big supply chain. Here is the supply chain: Atma, Jnana, Manas, Indriya, and the object. There is some problem somewhere. The problem is not with Atma, because that is willing to supply Jnana always. There is another problem with Atma which I will mention to you. Wait for a moment. The next gate is Manas. This Manas is a part of this body. Are you clear about that? Manas is not sentient. Mind is not a part of the Atman. It is a part of this body. Once anything is a part of this body, then is it not Prakritam? It's a product of Prakriti. When anything is Prakritam, then it has to be necessarily be affected by Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Because Prakriti had Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, our body would also be affected. Our Manas would also have Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. If you are affected by Rajoguna, then what would happen? Would you not be affected by Kama and Krodha? The product of Rajoguna is Kama, Krodha. So if this Manas has attracted, or if this Manas is predominantly Sattvika, or predominantly Rajasa, predominantly Tamasa, when the Jnana of this Atma passes through the mind, then it picks up Sattva-guna, it picks Rajoguna, it picks Tamoguna. If this Jnana picks Sattva-guna from the mind and reaches my eyes, then the eyes would certainly look at the deity of Bhagavan. If it picks Rajoguna from the Manas and reaches my eyes, then I would look at everything with greediness. If this picks Tamoguna from the Manas and reaches my eyes, then I look everything with a confused nature. This is what happens. This Manas has Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. And the Jnana that travels from the Atma through the Manas, it picks Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and then travels to the Indriyas. Don't blame the Indriyas, don't blame the objects. They will remain the same. You can't remove everything from this world. Dances will remain, disco will remain, and Perumal temple will remain. We can't go and kill all those people. They will ever remain. We have a lot of mosquitoes in India, particularly in Chennai. If you come, the next omniscient to Paramatma is mosquito. Bhagavan is found everywhere. He is a Sarva Vyapaka. Next is mosquito. What can I do? Can I kill all the mosquitoes in my city? I can't. Instead, I can have a net and sleep inside a net, or I can smear cream so that I get guarded from the mosquitoes. I can't kill the mosquito. I can only guard myself. Similarly, all these bad and good objects will ever remain in this world. I can't get away with them. I can only correct myself. I can only mend my ways. So, where do we boil down? The issue is Manas. Is it going to be predominant with Sattva, Rajas and Tamas? In case the Manas is predominant with Sattva Guna, then the whole process is beautiful. You don't have any problem. That's why our forefathers and our preceptors have been wantedly and for ages and ages telling us to develop Sattva Guna, Sattva Guna and Sattva Guna. Because that's where we can change our life. So if our Manas is full of Sattvic qualities, if our Manas has Sattva Guna, then the Jnana picks that Sattva Guna, travels through, it reaches all our sensual organs, and it will only listen to good music. It will only listen to Katha and Kalakshepa. It will only look at the deity. It will only talk about the holy names of Perumal. It will only touch his lotus feet. It will only smell his holy basils. Everything is in line. If it does not, if it picks Rajoguna or Tamoguna, you had it. So where do we correct now? We need to correct our Manas. Krishna precisely mentions this. He says that Asya Adhishtanam Uchyate Indriyani Mano Buddhihi Asya Adhishtanam Uchyate. Kama wheels Indriyas, Manas and Buddhi. How do I get rid of that? If you have to get rid of Kama, then that is only a product. You need to try for the cause now. See, fever is only a symptom. It's not a disease. There is an underlying cause. There is a disease. Noi nadi, noi mudal nadi, adhanikum vai nadi vaipachayal. This is a glorious saying in Tamil. Noi nadi, noi mudal nadi. Don't stop with the symptom. You can have crocin, paracetamol. How long? Every 4 hours it will again surge. You will have to have paracetamol. It will reduce, your temperature will go down for the next 4 hours. Again it will erupt. The best way is to treat the disease, the cause for this symptom. Similarly, kama is only a symptom. Where is the cause? Rajoguna is the cause. So you need to treat the cause if you want to cure the whole disease. How do we treat the cause? So we need to treat Rajoguna. No? Krishna says, yes, you treat Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. You abstain from Rajas and Tamas and you develop Sattvic qualities in you. There are 2 ways of doing it. One way, how to win over Rajas and Tamas. The second, how to develop Sattva-guna. Thirumangai Alvar, in one of his songs, he says that Mukkunathil, in Thiruvaluvottirukkai, Mukkunathil, Irandavai Ahachi, Ondrinil Ondrinindru, Mukkunathil, out of the 3. Irandavai Ahachi, remove 2, Ondrinil Ondrininnu, follow 1. Right earnestly he made this statement. But we, as usual, misunderstood this statement. We immediately got up and said, Alvar, I have been doing this, following this for long. You said, out of the 3, abstain from 2, follow 1. I have been doing this for long. I have always abstained from Sattva-guna and Rajoguna and followed Tamoguna. Or I have always abstained from Sattva-guna and Tamoguna, followed Rajoguna. Alvar should have been more specific. He was too general. He said, Mukkunathil Irandavayahachi Ondrinil Ondrininnu. But he failed to mention which 2 and which 1. He just say, Irandavayahachi Ondrinil Ondrininnu. Anything you leave vague, we will of course take it by the way we want to. Whatever we have been used to, we only accept that. So it is Sattva Guna that we need to develop. If we develop Sattva Guna, then the Manas is always full of Sattvic qualities. Whatever Jnana passes through the Manas, it picks only Sattvic qualities. Then it travels to the Indriyas. From then on, you have a great, glorious life. So we need to treat our Manas. To treat that Manas, how to treat? It should be full of Sattvic qualities. One way is to keep on engaging, employing that Manas in Sattvic habits. That's very important. So the more you employ your mind in Sattvika objects, in Sattvic habits, and keep listening always to Sattvika Katha, Purusham Strim Punativai Tatpada Salilam Yatha. In Bhagavata, Shukacharya preaches, he advises Parikshit, he says that Vasudeva Katha Prashnaha Purusham Strim Punativai Tatpada Salilam Yatha. Oh Parikshit, please realize that listening to the holy stories of Krishna that develops Sattva Guna in you. Vasudeva Katha Prashnaha. Vasudeva Katha is very, very important. Purusham Strim Punative. That purifies your mind. Purification means what? It makes Sattva Guna develop. So if I am purified, I am Sattvic in nature. Once you understand this, then we get to know that this Atman is not independent. It is driven by karma and it is dependent on Paramatma. Krishna says that Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartahamiti Manyate. This person has understood wrongly that he is the Karta. He is not the Karta. Karta is the performer, the doer. He is not the doer. He is not the performer. Then who does? 5 people together. I have seen many symphonies here. Orchestra symphonies. There are all hundreds of people, violinists, all guitarists. They all sit together and play music. Similarly, we are 5 people who join together. 1 the Atman, 2 the Paramatman, 3 our body, 4 our Indriyas, sensual organs, 5 our prana, but the prana which we inhale and exhale. So these 5 should coordinate. They should cooperate to execute anything. So all the 5 have to be together. If not, you can't execute anything. Whereas we want to take credit of all the 5. I do something, I take credit. I came late today. I came only at 6:55. If you ask me, I started giving 10 reasons. My driver was wrong. He did not. The GPS in the car did not work. The person who gave me directions, he went wrong. So many things I'll tell you. From tomorrow, I hope I'll be on time. When I come here at 6:30 and you ask me, how is that you are on time? I'll tell that's my nature. I have always been on time. What should I reply? I should say, my driver knew the route rightly, GPS worked, the directions were given properly, there were no other obstacles, that's how I came on time. Should it not be the answer? I will never do that. I will say for all these 18 years I have been on time. So am I today, which is not right. Then, okay, if that is the statement I make, today, what should I have done? Again, I should not have taken credit. If something is positive, I try to take credit. If something is against me, I just blame others. This is what we do. Krishna says, don't do that, Arjuna. Always think that there are 5 people who play. 5 people have to cooperate. So you can take credit only for 20%, not for 100%. You are only one of the 5 players. So you take credit to your extent. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham. Aham karta. You wrongly think that you are the karta. You are not so. Then who is the karta? All the 5 together. We are the kartas. Who is precisely the real karta? Sarveshwara Krishna. So he is the one who controls all the 4. He is like this thumb, this index finger. These 4, Achit, Baddha, Mukta, Nitya. There are 4 entities. Achit is the insentient. The sentients are classified into 3. Baddhatma, the bonded souls. Muktatma, the liberated souls. Nityatma, the ever liberated souls. So there are 3. This one is insentient, and this index, this thumb, is Paramatma himself. Without the help of this thumb, these 4 can never operate. If this does not come and help these 4 fingers, can these 4 fingers operate? They cannot. No one gets reminded of all these things when you look at the fingers. What we know of is, I can take balls of rice or wheat and just consume. This is what his hand is given for. This is what we know of. Whereas this hand, whenever you look at this hand, you must know this is Paramatma, who is different from Achit, who is different from Baddhatma, who is different from Muktatma, who is different from Nityatma, and he is supreme, the most supreme. And that supreme controller, he controls this entire universe. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Here is this person who misunderstands that he is the karta, whereas he is not the karta. So now, what is that we have understood? Why? Who are we? We are not this body. Am I dependent or independent? I am not independent. I am dependent. Then why have I misunderstood that I am the body? Why have I misunderstood that I am independent? Because my karma, my sharira, the rajoguna, tamoguna, and the affective kama, they have wielded my jnana, and so I am not able to realize all this. Then what do? The way is, develop sattva in your manas. Then the whole thing will fall in line. To do that, how to develop sattva? You need to employ this mind in sattvika actions, as well as there is one very important thing, ahara niyama. If you control your food habits, then sattva develops. That's a separate subject on its own. I'll keep it for tomorrow. Let me not talk about that today, because whenever I start talking about it, I'll get hundreds of objections. Is this possible? Is that possible? What people want to is, they will list what they consume today and ask the visiting scholar, do you find this list in Vedas? If possible, you tell me. We don't want to lay the Veda and the prescription given there. We only want to find whether whatever I consume is there. This is not the right way to do. So it is not, we talk about bottoms up and up to down. This has to ever be first the Shastra. Let me learn that and practice the same that is said there. Whatever that prescribes, we need to follow. We can't choose something and then try to substantiate, or some way or other we'll find a lame excuse or one word which can be misinterpreted. It may give way to be misinterpreted. We will catch hold of that word. You will find 100 more clear words in the Shastra. We will forget all of them. But we will only catch hold of this and say that this is what I am practicing. Or even if you say that this is what I am practicing, it's okay. Whatever I am practicing is found in the Veda. This is what we will tell. We don't want to accept that I practice what the Vedas say. By practice, fortunately the Vedas also say that we can't go by that way. So we'll keep ahara niyama for tomorrow. So for today, whatever we have understood this, if you realize that we are dependent and realize that this Atman is something totally different from the Deha, then it is materialism versus spirituality. Anything that is materialistic has to do with the body. Now that I know I am not this body, then I cannot remain material anymore. I have to become spiritual. Why am I not spiritual? Because of these two problems. Because I don't realize these two, I am more into materialism. This is just a priority problem. You have a list of jobs to be done. You need to prioritize them. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. For me, I have only one in that list, Deha. My body is the only list. I have no second item in that. Now that I have introduced the second, now I look, is body more important than the Atman or the Atman? I understand this body perishes. This is no more with me. And I have transgressed. I have lived more than this body. Then I think this number 2 should come to number 1 slot. The moment you do that, you shift priorities, then all my thinking would be about the Atman and the Paramatman and not about the body. Krishna exactly explains only these in the 2nd chapter and then on further elaborates in the 3rd, 4th and 5th chapter till the 6th chapter. Why Krishna spoke about Karma Yoga? What more to do to develop our spiritual interest rather than the materialistic interest? The more you know about your spirit, which is your Atman, the more you know about that, then I am not going to run a mad race. I know that I am unique. I know I have got some special characteristics. I know I am great. I am so close to Bhagavan and He is there within me. The more I know about the Jnanamaya and Anandamaya, the Sukshma Rupa, how do you define an Atma? Valagra Shatabhagasya. The size of an Atma is Valagra Shatabhagasya Shatadha Kalpitasya cha. Take a grain, paddy grain, and you take only the tip of that grain. Break the tip of the grain into 100 parts. Take one part. Again dissect that into 100 parts. You'll find one part of that 100. Atma is subtler than that. Atma is so small, you can't define it with a form. It has no gender. It is not singular or plural. It is Atman. It's not Anirvachiniyam. It has got great auspicious attributes. The attributes of Atman are, it is Jnanamaya, Anandamaya, it is Sukshma, it is Sukharupa. It is there to always enjoy bliss, not for this pain, not for this temporary agony. It is there for eternal bliss, whereas we misunderstand that this Atma is now entangled in this body. Forever it is going to experience pain. Not at all. It is there for eternal bliss. So if you shift your priority, then understand the greatness of this Atma, the auspicious attributes of the Atma, then on we will start thinking about that. The more you think about Atman and the control of Atman, Paramatman, then you will know whatever I have been thinking of is nothing. Let me not worry about all those. Here is a great path. I am going to choose that path and journey well, happily journey in that path. Let's stop it with that today, because I think I have given an overdose to you all. Kindly recollect whatever you have heard, listen to today, go back home. Anything will be reminded. You can remember many things if recollected within 3-4 hours of listening. That's very important. If you try to recollect all this tomorrow evening, hurriedly before you come to this lecture, nothing will come to your mind. Anything is reminded. You can remember if you recollect within 3-4 hours. Like a limb severed, it has to be attached to your body within those 3-4 hours. Similarly, your collection, your thoughts, they need to be recollected within 3-4 hours. So go back home, kindly try to recollect whatever humorous examples I gave will come to your mind necessarily. But the concepts which we tried to explain will never come to your mind that easily. எப்போ என்ன உதாரணம் சொன்னமோ வேடிக்கைக்காக அதெல்லாம் ஞாபகம் வந்துடும். ஆனா எதுக்கு இந்த உதாரணம் சொன்னார்னு யோசிச்சு பார்ப்போம். அது மட்டும் ஞாபகத்துக்கு வரவே வராது. இப்போ என்னமோ சிரிக்கிறதுக்காக சொன்னார் போட்டு அப்படின்னு விட்டுடுவோம். So don't be carried away by all the examples which we thought. But let's only stick on to the matter, the concept. So let's ponder over this for tonight. Tomorrow evening we will assemble here again. Tomorrow we'll certainly assemble at 6:30 p.m. You have 10 minutes of time. If you want any questions, you can go ahead. Sure.
What's the difference between viveka and vichara?
Viveka is distinguishing between do's and don'ts, right and vichara is probing. Yes. Viveka is a product of vichara. I need to probe first, research, analyze. Then I understand that this is to be done, this is not to be done. So that's a product.
Swamiji, when Arjuna was confused, Lord Krishna came and advised him and told him what is right and what is wrong. But when we get confused, nobody comes and tells us what is right and what is wrong.
Krishna has already told you. He has already told and it's recorded. It's not gone. It is very much alive.
No, but Krishna was a Khatri, so he says, you must fight, that is your dharma.
No. Krishna was not a Kshatriya. He was a Vaishya when he grew up.
He told Arjuna.
Oh, no problem. Precisely, there is a blame. There is a complaint against Gita that here is a Shastra which kindles war, which promotes war. It is not so. By chance, Arjuna was a Kshatriya. If the listener was a Brahmana, Krishna would have told, perform your Varna Dharma. The listener was a Kshatriya, he told him to fight. And the where Krishna talks about fighting and the battle may hardly be about 10 shlokas. Whereas in the balance 690 shlokas, he tells us to perform our dharma. He never wants us to battle. He never wants all to war, all to fight. He only tells us whichever dharma you belong to, perform that. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmo bhayapaha. You can perform your dharma lesser than satisfactory level. He accepts that. But if you perform the dharma of someone else even to 120%, no, he does not accept. So this is applicable to every varna and every ashrama, not to Arjuna alone. Arjuna was only a cause there, but our beneficiaries are all of us.
During your discourse today, you mentioned the Atma, the Buddhi, the Manas and the Indriyas. But during your explanation, you laid stress on the Indriyas, the Manas and the Atma. You didn't...
Buddhi is the Dharma Buddha Jnana.
Is
Buddhi is nothing but Dharma Buddha Jnana.
Okay, is it used for distinguishing or discriminating? That is where I lost you for a second.
Sorry, I'll clarify that.
Right.
Dharma Bhuta Jnana is our knowledge. Atman's knowledge is Dharma Bhuta Jnana. A name given to that is Buddhi. Buddhi and Dharma Bhuta Jnana are one and the same. With Dharma Bhuta Jnana only, I get to know so many things. Dharmic Jnana will only say that this is I, Atman. But that Dharmic Jnana can never tell me that this is a tape recorder or this is a carpet. It is with the help of my Dharma Bhuta Jnana I get to know all this. So, to distinguish between the Deha and Atma, it is the Dharma Bhuta Jnana that has to help. To distinguish between the Swatantra and the Paratantra, it is again the Dharma Bhuta Jnana that has to help me. This Dharma Bhuta Jnana is covered by Kama. That's why I am not able to realize these two. Is that okay?
Yes.
See, this is perfectly logical. You cannot go wrong in this. It is such a beautiful statement, and this second chapter of Krishna is so glorious that he has been very methodical and logical in his approach. We need to go slowly on that. That's very important. See, it is about us. It is nothing alien to us. Unfortunately, the technology, the technical terms is what we don't know. We know everything else because it is me who thinks and me who sees. The Krishna is not trying to tell me about someone else. He is only trying to tell me about me. So very much we can understand this. Gitena, it is something beyond. It is nothing like that. It is me and it is about me. Yeah.
How about relevance of Varnam and Ashrama in today's world?
Any day it is relevant. Because Krishna says Varna Sankaram is just not acceptable to me. He wants us to practice whatever we are for, wherever we are born and however we are born. We need to. Brahmana Naranda Veda Adhyayana Pandidanu. Vedata solradhu theriyum. You must know to recite the Vedas if you are a born Brahmana. If you are a Kshatriya, then you need to do something for the country, fight for it. If you are a Vaishya, you have to do business.
How about Brahmanas going into doing the role of Vaishyas? And
Now, let me tell you that. Brahmanas have always remained as consultants. Modalla, Parama. We were mantris. In good old, Vasitacharya was a mantri, was a Kulaguru. So we were Kulaguru, then we were mantris, we were lawyers, we were chartered accountants, and today we are software consultants. Never we have gone wrong. We should not invest money and start business. Then we will be changing. You can advise others, Brahmana is ever approved to receive money happily. I can really take money from you. I have that authority. I have been given that by the Shastra.
It is told that as Atma is full of knowledge, how can something called karma be placed along with it? Because it is complete knowledge. It doesn't have the pancha, what you are telling about it.
It is not sticking to the Atma.
Okay.
It is accounted in the Atma's folio by Bhagavan. To every Atma, he has a folio in his book. Bhagavan Sankalpa, his free will is the book. To every Atma, there is a folio, there is an account. There is a credit entry and a debit entry. Whenever we perform something, the credit is punya and he posts the credit. Whenever we do something wrong, it is papa and he posts the debit. This karma is not sticking to me, it cannot. But this karma, the account of this karma is kept by Bhagavan. And he holds the karma as the reins. That's what I told you. He holds this as a rope and controls the Atma.
So why is it getting carried forward every janma after janma?
Because I don't exhaust it. I need to perform the way Shastras tell me to do. I don't do. That's why that get carried. Or go and surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharmanu parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami. I remove all your karmas provided you wholeheartedly surrender to me. That's what Vaishnavism says as Saranagati. We can do that and get rid of all this.
What's the technicalities between ahankara and asmita? Or is it one and the same?
No. Ahankara is misunderstanding body to be Atman. Asmita is egoism.
Okay.
We misinterpret, we misspell, rather, we wrongly give the meaning of the word ahankara as haughtiness, which is not so. That's why I told you in the middle also, ahankara is different. That is misunderstanding body to be Atman. Whereas asmita is loftiness, haughtiness. Why that? So this is dehatma abhimana, that is swatantriya abhimana. Both are different. Yeah, please.
You said that the Atma is controlled by the God because of the karmas in the previous or the past. So, isn't he the controller then to pass your vision to the sattvic or tamas or rajas? So, if he is controlling...
So, he could have very well directed me to be a sattvika.
Right.
Right. He does not come and plan our daily routine. Because God has got other things to do. He never comes into these things. He will not plan my tour schedule. He will not plan whether I can sneeze or cough at this moment. He never does that. There are two types. One is niyata karma and the other is aniyata karma. Niyata karma, every aspect is destined. You can't change it. Like, for example, Parikshit was cursed by Muni Kumara that 7 days from today you will be bitten by a snake, Dakshaka, you will die. That was niyata karma. He can't do anything more. Whereas niyata karma is hardly 2-3% of the total karmas. Everything else is aniyata karma, where Bhagavan never intervenes. It is for us to independently do our job. We have the right, we can decide, we can do the right or the wrong. He never intervenes. He only watches you. He accepts whatever you do. That does not mean that I am not under the control of Paramatma. The corollary would be that. The immediate question would be, the consequent question would be, if I can decide myself, then I am independent. I am not dependent on Paramatma. That is not so. You have a general manager who can do purchases. You have a managing director. Yes, you can purchase, you can show your performance. That is graded, that is well appraised, you are paid for it, you can do. But are you under the control of the MD or not? The MD controls all the general managers. But that does not mean that he will sign on behalf of the general manager. You have to go negotiate, do your job, perform well and develop the company. So you have a dependent independence. You are independent, but eventually you are dependent. He never intervenes. The managing director allows every general manager to perform and develop the company. Similarly, we also have independence. We have to use. We have Jnana, we have the Shastras to guide us, we have this body to perform. Now we have all infrastructure. It is for us to do the right.
on that, the same, continuing the thought. So what is it that controls me to do the do's and the don'ts?
The earlier karma.
No, I'm
My
saying,
earlier papam and punyam, they cast an image. That's a shadow which I have on me. I am pulled into the same direction. If my papas are more, they are predominant, I'll become a papi. If my punyas are more, I'll become a punyatma. It is that the challenge for this atma to wriggle out of this. Bhagavan only watches.
So the vicious cycle, once you're a papa, you keep on being more papa.
Yes. You need to learn the shastras, the scriptures, and try to understand, come out of this. And to help you in accomplishing that is all our preceptors or acharyas. They have been constantly telling that you are in this cycle, try to get out, try to get out. It is for me to listen to them and get out.
How did I fall with this circle in the first place?
No. You have ever been living here. I didn't fall on a particular day. I have ever been here. I didn't descend from Vaikuntham. I have always been in samsara. This Atma is eternal. The only bond for this Atma to remain in this samsara is karma. If Atma is eternal and he has always been living in this samsara, his karma should also be anadi. His karma should also be eternal. So there is not day one when we all started. Paramatma has no day one. Jivatma has no day one. Karma has no day one. It's all anadi, eternal. But they all end on a day. Karma can be ended. Atma and Paramatma cannot be ended. Karma can be ended. But Karma, Atma and Paramatma, they don't have a beginning.
So, does this mean if there are, Jivatma is an individual, right?
Yes.
So, if there is a countably infinitely many number of Jivatmas, and if each Jivatma is destined someday to attain Moksha, then does this mean there will be an end of time where there will be no Jivatma without karma?
You said it's countless Jivatmas, na?
Countably, no, it is countably infinite. So it is
Infinite, okay.
It is countable.
Okay.
So
It's infinite or countable? Both contradict.
No, if you have grains of sand, you say it's infinite. Just because
You say it's infinite because you don't have the patience to count.
exactly, but it is
If someone wants to, you can.
exactly. So it is
Right.
countably infinite.
No. It is not infinite, it is countable. Why it is infinite? For you it may be infinite, not for me.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay, so it is countable.
Yeah, it is.
But Atmans are not countable. It's infinite.
But each Jivatma is an individual entity.
Yes.
So
There are countless entities.
There are like 100 Jivatmas.
No, there are no 100 here.
Here, yeah.
So here would mean then you are restricting. Don't restrict. This is the entire universe, this is the entire Vaikuntha, this is the entire everywhere together it is countless. It's infinite. They are not countably infinite, they are countless and infinite. And infinite number of Atmas, how many people would have left to Shivaguntham by now? Infinite? We don't know. Infinite minus infinite is? Infinity minus infinity is not zero, never it is zero. Infinity minus infinity is again infinity. So they will be left with infinite number of people.
To control your senses or indriyas, is that a conscious or a subconscious effort?
It's a conscious effort. I can't do it when I sleep.
Right, so how do you, when you're sleeping and your mind is sometimes working,
Yes.
and you have thoughts and dreams and stuff,
Mm.
how would you be able to control it?
I need not control that. If I control when I am, when I have woken up, when I am not dreaming or when I am not sleeping, if you know to control that, then while sleeping also, you won't get any bad dream. If you control when you are awake, then everything gets controlled. So subconsciously you cannot control, because when I am hurt and unconscious in a hospital, how can I control? I cannot. You need to be awake to control that. It is done only consciously, knowingly.
All along we've been hearing people, or a lot of people keep saying that it's Bhagavad Sankalpam when things doesn't happen. When things happen, God let us do it, is what we've been hearing. Is this one type of complaint?
Can you come back with that?
we've been always saying when a thing does not happen, we always say that it's Bhagavad Sankalpam. God,
Yes.
let us not do it. God, let us not have it. And are we trying to console ourselves, or are we trying to complain? Say it as a complaint.
We want to take all credits and pass on all debits. This is what we have been used to. Either you offer both the debit and credit to him, or you accept both the debits and credits on your head. Either way is acceptable. But what we do is, whenever we go wrong, then we blame him. If something is right, then we take the credit. That's not possible. If Bhagavad Sankalpam gardi eppo varuduna, if I have surrendered to Bhagavan, if I have performed Sharanagati, then I expect him to operate on me, I expect him to protect me, and I don't involve myself in my protection at all. In which case, anything, it is Bhagavad Sankalpam only, because I don't want to act. But if I have not done that surrender, I have not performed Sharanagati, then anything I do is mine only. Nama, we have a practice of blaming Bhagavan as Bhagavad Sankalpam. How do that?
So Bhagavan is not the one who, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but please go ahead.
So Bhagavan is not the one who controls and who takes
He controls.
everything that we do.
He controls, very much he controls. But he controls within his realm of affairs. You have independence, we can decide. Or you accept that I do not want to control myself anymore. I am now surrendering to you. Now we are switching the onus of protection to him. We are shifting the onus to him. If you do that, he will assume charge. Then we need not do anything. That is Sharanagati.
Which means that are we saying that we are not going to try anything?
Nothing. Whatever is prescribed in Shastra, I will continue to do irrespective of the fruit. That's what we do in Sharanagati. I am just not bothered whether you give me moksha, you don't. Whether you give me money or not. Whether I am healthy or unhealthy. I am just not bothered. Because I have left it to you. I can't suicide. I can't kill myself. So I live. I live as per my prescription. Rest, I have left it to you. Then you can easily blame him. Because he is responsible. Buyer beware. Have you heard of it? If there is a product in the market, I go and negotiate for that. He would say, this as is where is condition. It is your job to find out what you are buying. Then, if there is any trouble in the product, I can't give it back to him. This is known as buyer beware. Any buyer has to be aware of what he is buying. Whereas, if I shift that to the seller, I tell him, I am not aware of any of these products. I don't know what this product is. I am depending on your recommendation, then I can get back to him. The recourse is available. Similarly, normalcy is buyer beware. It is the Atman who has to bear everything. When Sharanagati is performed, then I shift it to the seller, to Paramatma. Then you can blame him. And the Sharanagata will never blame him.
How do you surrender yourself in front of God?
How do we surrender? There are mantras, there are various. The doctrine of Sharanagati is a study by itself. I must accept absolute subservience and dependence on him. I must not take credit for anything. Swatantriyam ஒன்னே ஒரு % கூட இருக்க கூடாது. இருந்தா சரணாகதி தான். त्वमेव उपाय भूतो मे भव इति प्रार्थनामति शरणागतिः. You are the means for liberation. It's not my efforts that going to get me liberated. It is you who will get me liberated. Then I surrender, I offer everything. அதுக்கு அப்புறம் யாரை வெய்யறது, திட்டுறது, doing something on my own, offending somebody or doing anything that is against Shastra, nothing can be attempted.
Is it done only in Vaishnavas?
Anybody can do. An elephant did, which is Gajendra. There's nothing got to do with this. It is your state of mind. It has been well preached in Vaishnavism, which I agree. But anybody can do. The Rakshasis in Ashokavana, they never even surrendered to Sita. But Sita protected them all. Because Sita knew they were helpless. This helplessness, the destituteness is the cause for surrender. I don't have any other way. I surrender. And if the person to whom we resort to is aware that you are helpless, he never even expects you to surrender. He comes to your help. Right. We'll assemble tomorrow evening. I request you all, when you come tomorrow, kindly get one of your friends along with you. When you come here, this can accommodate another 50, 60 people. So when you come tomorrow, kindly pass on the word to them, kindly bring one with you. Tomorrow also there are some interesting topics which we need to deal with. This is one. Secondly, we have displayed some CDs. Whoever wants Tamil CDs, this is a long list. You would have also been given that list. It's the total list is for about 2,300 hours. If you want to listen to, it will take about 4-5 years for you to complete listening to them. But I have chosen some topics and given a separate list, and also from English for people who do not understand Tamil. I have given a set in English. So I request that all of you buy one. You can give order, fill up the form and give order. It will be supplied to you after, maybe at the last day of the session. Now all that you contribute will go for noble causes through the trust. Thank you.